In a quiet African village, a greedy man stumbles upon a magical drum that brings forth food with every beat. At first, he shares his fortune. But soon, his greed consumes him, and the drum turns against the village. What happens when blessings are abused? Find out in this jaw-dropping African folktale with a powerful lesson on greed and consequences. Ogulu, a man of greed, lived in a small village. His eyes were always searching for more food, more wealth, more power. But his stomach, though full, was never satisfied. Today, he hides a secret, his latest plan to satisfy his hunger. One day, Ogulu ventured deep into the forest, where whispers told of a magical drum. As he walked, the air thickened, the trees stood taller, and there it was, a drum, glowing faintly, standing alone in the quiet. Could it be? Could this drum fulfill his endless desire? With trembling hands, Ogulu struck the drum. And to his amazement, food appeared, hot yams, tender meat, and rich soup. The drum had answered his call. His heart raced. His greed was awakened. And in that moment, he knew his life would never be the same. Ogulu could barely carry the drum, but his excitement overpowered his strength. With each step, his mind raced with the possibilities. He was bringing home the key to endless feasts, to the life of luxury he'd always dreamed of. Back in his heart, Ogulu struck the drum again. And as if by magic, the food poured out more than he could ever eat in a lifetime. His hands trembled with joy as he gorged himself. The more he ate, the more he wanted, and the more the drum provided. Outside, children cried in hunger, but Ogulu, with a full belly and a greedy smile, ignored them. He had all the food he needed. The villagers' cries meant nothing to him. Only his own desires mattered. As days passed, Ogulu's greed grew insatiable. The food piled up, but he was never satisfied. What once brought joy now felt like a burden. Rotten fish, spoiled soup, nothing tasted good anymore. But still, he beat the drum, desperately hoping for something better. The villagers, once his friends, now became his enemies. Hungry children gathered around, hoping for a share. Ogulu, filled with rage, waved them away, furious that they dared to take what was his. His heart hardened with every passing day. One night, the drum began to glow, casting a strange red light. Ogulu, overwhelmed by its power, struck it again. But this time, something was different. Smoke began to rise from the drum, swirling around him in dark, ominous clouds. As Ogulu slept, the drum's power took hold of his dreams. He saw a giant drum rising over the village, swallowing everything in its path, people, houses, the land itself. A cold shiver ran down his spine. Could it be a warning? The once thriving village was now a place of despair. Buildings cracked, and the land grew dry. The villagers, now aware of Ogulu's secret, gathered in fear. The earth trembled beneath their feet as they sought answers, but Ogulu was nowhere to be found. Ogulu returned to the drum, but when he touched it, he noticed a crack. A small fissure, but one that seemed to pulse with power. His heart raced. The drum, once a source of endless food, now felt like a ticking time bomb. That night, Ogulu's nightmares became a reality. The drum grew larger, swallowing whole trees, homes, and people. Ogulu screamed in terror as the drum's power devoured everything. Was this the price of his greed? In a panic, Ogulu stood before the drum, shaking with fear. He begged it to stop, but the drum remained silent. The village, the food, the power, it was all slipping away. And it was his fault. Ogulu, desperate to restore the village's faith in him, invited everyone to feast. He promised a banquet like no other, but deep down, he knew that the drum's power was beginning to falter. Still, he hoped it would satisfy his unquenchable thirst for more. The drum responded. A feast appeared before them: roast meats, fruits, rice, and fish. But as the villagers ate, something was wrong. The food tasted bitter. The air grew thick with tension. Ogulu smiled, but his heart raced with dread. As the mist spread, the earth cracked open. Huts, people, animals, everything was swallowed by the ground. Ogulu watched in horror as his greed consumed everything he had once known. The village was no more. The mighty baobab tree, a symbol of strength, fell with a thunderous crash. Ogulu, now a shell of the man he once was, stood helpless. The drum's power had taken everything, and it had no intention of stopping. Alone in the ruins, Ogulu wondered. His body, once strong and full, was now weak and frail. He had nothing left, no village, no food, no friends. Only the drum remained, silent and cold. Desperate, Ogulu fell to his knees before the drum. His hunger, once insatiable, had turned to despair. He begged for mercy, but the drum said nothing. The cost of his greed had been paid in full. Now, many years later, children gather around the fire. The elder, wise and old, tells them the tale of Ogulu, the man who tried to control the hunger of the earth. His voice is soft, but the lesson is clear. Greed will always consume you, and not all opportunities are good. Some are just a trap or destruction to humanity. Under a dead Iroko tree, the drum lies forgotten. Its magic is gone, its power spent. But the echo of its greed still lingers in the wind, a reminder of the price paid by a man who wanted it all. Thanks for watching. Like, comment your thoughts and subscribe.